Hey Charles, this is Kelly Mariano. Obviously, you can see that. I just wanted to send you, I guess, a video message, share some thoughts with you, kind of one to one. Everything I'm gonna say to you is hopefully for your benefit. At least that's the intention. So if it comes off any other kind of way, because I don't know all things, but I have spent a lot of time and effort and money learning certain things, and some of that is kind of where I was headed with you with what I said to you about LinkedIn. So here's the thing. On the 5th of January, I reached out to you and asked you if you were up for a challenge, and you said yeah, and I said to add 100 people. I don't know if I said get to 100, but I think I said to add 100. I thought that was but anyway, whatever it was. So on the 19th, when I checked, and I think I reached out to you that day as well, you were at 91 people uh, in your connections on LinkedIn. Now, the reason I mentioned that potential challenge to you because I think that in a lot of ways, all the people that you need to know are already at your fingertips. They may already be in LinkedIn. In fact, a number, well, no, it's about a year ago, something like that. I started working with, what do you call it? I can't think of an assistant. I don't know. I don't know why I can't think of the name. But anyway, the personal assistant. But they were specifically in the arena of marketing. And I don't remember how many people I was connected to, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 in LinkedIn. But now I'm at close to 8,000 because I specifically started growing my list in there and started kind of farming the list. And I think that if you were to do some of that, you might find that you're able to have more success than you're having. Definitely blanking out some of the $0 months that we talked about. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day. I'm gonna try to keep this definitely under 10 minutes. I was thinking 5, but I'm already at 3. So anyway, I was talking to someone, I think yesterday. There was also, maybe it was Sunday. There's also from in Primerica, and she reached out to me and she said, "Hey, are you still in Primerica?" I didn't know her. Never. First interaction I ever had with her that I know of. I don't think I was connected to her or anything like that. She just reached out to me. So we started talking about it, and she asked me, why I stopped and all. And that you might know that story, but the issue is when Rachel was having less interest in it, and our marriage was, I guess, going in different directions, for lack of a better term, at that point. So I wasn't really interested in pursuing it that way because the way we were growing it was really tied to who Rachel was in her profession as a principal. So I was able to just connect with school teachers, speak at events and stuff like that, and have people. But we also just had people over to the house sometimes without our upline there, because they have a way of doing things that they want to do them. But I felt like people that we were reaching out to were not necessarily going to relate very well to the way that they wanted to present it. Very often, and you may have found this already, sometimes when people get a little older, over 30-ish, I know you don't like the category of being older, but sometimes people are over 30 and they're already cynical to opportunities that are being presented to them. So there's some challenges there. And one of the things that a lot of these network marketing companies do not do very well is market to the need. I've spoken in different situations, and I share with people that entrepreneurs solve problems for people for a profit. That's what they do. They solve problems for people for a profit. So very often what happens in the marketplace is people just say, I got this for sale, I got this for sale, I got that for sale. But there was a man named Chet Holmes who was good friends with Tony Robbins. And one of the things he said is that typically in any industry, only 3%, 3 to 4% of the people that are your ideal audience are actually ready to buy what it is you have to sell. So you got 100 people in the room, that means only 3 or 4 of them are looking for whether it's insurance or investments and those types of things. So going to them leading with the solution is going to be wholly ineffective, or typically ineffective, because you're only talking to 3 to 4% of the people. But that also means that everybody else that's marketing with you is doing the same thing. So what you want to do is you want to identify the problem that they're having. We call it the top of mind problem. They have a top of mind problem, the thing that keeps them up in the middle of the night, the thing that they wake up and they're tossing and turning. That's the thing they're thinking about. Like for you, that thing is probably, I need some more clients. That's the thing. And I've put together a coaching program that was originally for coaches. Now I'm angling it towards real estate agents, but it was geared originally towards coaches, and it works really well because that's the coach's top of mind problem. There's a bunch of situations that you may have, but usually the first one is, where's my next client coming from? And then once I have these couple clients that I'm dealing with, maybe you got a couple referrals, now you need to know who's coming after them. And you may not even think about it until you get to the end of the last client and then go, oh, now I don't have anybody else to go see, which is what obviously Primerica tries to address by having you ask for referrals at the end of each presentation so that you continuously have somewhere to go. But we all know it doesn't always work as well as planned. And the reality is you kind of want people to be volunteering their referrals to you. And one of the reasons they're not going to refer many people typically is because that special need, that top of mind problem has not been addressed. So, like if you had a top of mind problem, let's say during a snowstorm, it might be cleaning up the snow. But I come to you like, hey, I can put your trash out for you. Might be a nice gesture, but it's not a top of mind problem. So the excitement level is not going to be that high. So subsequently, you're less likely to call anybody and say, hey, this guy did a great job with my trash, because you didn't really care that much about it. But when you're solving a problem that's a top of mind problem, it's like, woo, man, I finally did this. This is where I got to. So that's one of the challenges, is that it's the way a lot of stuff is presented. So I think, well, first of all, I'm going to encourage you in general, because you're in a tight situation. I know with being head of the household, you want to be the one that's driving the revenue in the household or taking care of the house, right? I don't know if Taryn makes more than you do. It kind of doesn't, it matters, but not really, because as a man, you tend to want to be the one taking care of stuff, regardless of what it is Taryn is able to do. But speaking of Taryn, one of the things that you guys may want to do is sit down and kind of talk about what it is you're trying to do, so that she's not referring to you people that want life insurance, which is the thing that I ran into. I'm glad that came to mind. That's the thing that I ran into. Oh my God, we're almost at 9 minutes. So anyway, one of the things we ran into before is that we would talk to people about what we were doing, even if we didn't just do life insurance with them. That's what they thought of us as life insurance people. So we did the whole financial needs analysis. We talked about retiring. We talked about all these things. But they walk away at the end of the day thinking that we're life insurance people. And that's a challenge, because when they try to refer you, people are going to already they're trying to make a decision from the outside as to whether or not they want to do anything, right? They don't want to be sold. A lot of people don't, right? You go to a car dealership. Oh, I'm just looking. Well, no, you're not just looking. You're at a car dealership. You know what I mean? You didn't just walk. Unless you just happen to be walking by there on your way home. That's not what you're doing. It's not arbitrary. But in situations like that, people will deflect ahead of time or say no ahead of time because they can, right? They have that opportunity and they think they already know whatever you're going to say to me is going to cost me money. They don't understand the value, which is why typically, like if you're talking to a business coach or any type of coach, a lot of times they won't say how much the program is because they need you to have a perception of what the program is going to do for you. For example, the coaching program I was talking about for realtors, the program is designed to increase a realtor's revenue by $100,000 in a year. That's worth a few dollars, right? To increase your revenue by that amount. But if I tell someone just how much the program is, they may go, oh my God, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money for what they're getting. It's a lot of money if they don't have it, right? Like there's a difference. So anyway, I want to encourage you in what you're doing. And, I don't want to, one of the things my wife and I talk about is, like, we got to be mindful of like what we're doing with our time and stuff like that. So I can't really, quote unquote, necessarily coach for free or anything, which you didn't ask for anyway. But just trying to give you some pointers maybe to run with. If you do want to talk more about that coaching program, we could always take a few minutes and I can tell you more about it so you know what it is. But that program is so comprehensive that it's designed to keep you book solid, really, is what it is. I mean, I'm not fully licensed yet to use that terminology, but it's my original coaching program, Rapid Client Attraction System, being mated with a system called Book Yourself Solid, and they're coming together to produce that way. And for you can't control the revenue. Well, you can, but how you control your revenue is different than how some of the coaches do, right? Some of the, like, you may be coaching on the kind of in the financial sense. Excuse me. Sorry, COVID time, people probably getting scared outside this office. Anyway, I forgot where I was. But anyway, what I was saying is it's harder to control, like a coach could. Like, I've talked to coaches that were charging $50 an hour for their coaching. And, we start talking to them about producing programs that are $2,000 or $3,000. Oh, come on. Anyway, this is going so much longer than I intended to. So anyway, what I want you to, let me go back to where I was trying to get to. The one thing is I want you to think about is the fact that LinkedIn has over 800 million people in it. And that's why I said you can certainly find your audience. But one of the problems is, and just like when I talked to the young lady over the weekend about Primerica, I asked her who her ideal audience was. She was like, oh, the typical thing that people say, oh, anyone that blah, 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 blah. And then I said, well, let's dig into that a little bit more. Let's get a little more specific about who you're trying to deal with, which usually makes people nervous because they feel like they don't have enough people to begin with, and now you're making it narrow. But narrow is more effective. And this example just came to mind. If I was looking for just somebody in a crowd, the way to isolate and make sure to get the most positive response possible is to call them by name. So if I walk into a room and you can hear me and I say Charles Still or Charlie Still, whatever you prefer, but if I call you out by name, it's going to get your attention. You at least, like, even if you didn't know me, you'd be like, how's the guy going? What does he want? Like, a bunch of things might run through your mind, but you're probably going to respond unless you had some reason to be concerned about what was coming next. You're probably going to respond. That's what this is about with marketing. You want to be able to call people's names, obviously not directly or specifically, but you want to be able to get into the ballpark. In other words, Taryn definitely, I know you could vouch for this as well. But when Taryn was pregnant, if she was in a situation where, like, hey, this is for all expectant mothers. You think it's going to register to her? Of course it is. It's going to register more to her and other mothers that are expecting than it would to women in general, even if the product could easily be as valuable to all women. So, like, even in my, if you look at my LinkedIn profile right now, it says something like I help Philadelphia real estate agents to add, I think it says to add $100,000 of revenue or income to their bottom line, something like that. I was playing around with the wording, so I can't remember exactly what it says, but effectively it says that, Philadelphia area. The reality is, it doesn't matter if you're in Philadelphia or East Giblip, as they used to say back in the day. The point is, it sounds like I'm calling a certain group of people, right? Like, oh, Philadelphia agent. So they're like paying attention because I'm in their area, right? Eventually, I may pull that curtain back and just say Pennsylvania. I may say tri-state. It may just say agents in general. Depends on how things go and which direction it goes in. I could pull it back, but right now I'm making it granular so that they can respond because they know I'm talking to them if they're in the Philadelphia area. If they're not in the Philadelphia area, that's a different animal because they can still respond. There's nothing keeping you from sending a message to somebody who has something to offer, right? If they say, oh, we're offering this to fathers in the Philadelphia area or the Washington, D.C. area, there's nothing keeping you from calling and saying, hey, I'm a father in the Philadelphia area. You know, what's up? Y'all got something down here? So it's like that type of thing. You want to, I don't have time for the entire marketing training on that, but the idea is you want to be very specific so that people can raise their hand and say, that's me. But they need to recognize that that's them. And one of the ways they do that is when you call them by name, and secondly, when you call out a problem that they're fully aware that they have. One of the things the girl said to me over the weekend is she said, she eventually said, I want to help Hispanic people, I wish I could remember the wording, but I said, overcome some of their problems or something like that. And I said, well, what kind of problems? She said, money management. Now, typically, if you say money management and you're struggling with finances, you're not talking about money management. You're talking about like financial survival. You're talking about making ends meet and stuff like that, right? So my question back to her was, what are they saying? What are they thinking? They wake up in the middle of the night, tossing the journal. What is the thought that's going on in their mind? Because what you want to do is you want to enter that conversation where they are. The conversation they're already having in their head. You want to enter that conversation. You can't do that by just saying money management and those people don't look at it as money management. That was the other issue with Primerica. I said to Justin Martin, he's out of Conshohocken, I said to him, you know, like when you're presenting, you're talking about money management and making money work for you. I was like, people that don't have money don't think they have that issue, right? I can't put my money to work if I don't think I have any, right? They know they have an income, but they don't look at themselves as having money to put to work. So it's a disconnect. So you're talking to them about something that they don't really understand. It'd be like talking to a black person about trying to get a tan, right? Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's a disconnect. That's what you want to be very mindful of. You want to understand what your typical audience person, not who you can serve, who you've served the most, like what your typical best client situation looks like, who that person was, what they did for a living, age, marital status, the way they look at stuff, the things that keep them up at night, the things that scare them. You want to really know who they are so that you can address the needs and concerns that they have as it pertains to the things that you can help them with. Especially like when you start getting someone like in my age bracket, I'm 53. So now I'm thinking about retirement. I'm thinking about the fact that I got almost a 2-year-old son and I'm 53. You know what I'm saying? Like, will I be around long enough to not only watch them grow up, but how far in their process will I get? How effective will I be able to be? being that much older than him. Obviously, God gives us wisdom, but the point is, I'm in a different thought process than you are, and we both have kids. We both have, well, I have 3 technically, but we both have 2. As far as I know, you don't have any other. But anyway, so we both have 2 kids, but you and I look at things from a very different perspective because I think you said you're 35-ish, somewhere in that bracket, and I'm 53. 53, the game is different. Like, you're looking at it from a different perspective. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you some encouragement to, I would grow my LinkedIn list and try to do so by searching for people who, it's kind of hit or miss with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is the kind of place where they don't really encourage you to send connection requests to people that you don't know at all, like you have really no knowledge of them or something like that. Now, a lot of people are open to that, but some aren't, which is actually kind of what I was hoping you would catch when you were doing the challenge, because my wife, before we were married, a couple of years before we were married, she asked me to take a look at her LinkedIn profile and stuff like that, and I was looking at it, and she was under 500 people in her profile. The problem with that is, when you're under 500, people treat you like you're a beginner. They're like, they're just starting to get connected to people. When you're over 500, they can't see any further than that, but they assume you to be a little more experienced, and I do that too. When someone connects with me and they only have like 100 connections or something like that, I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to do business with them, although I'm not completely dismissive, but I know that it can be a dismissive place to be. That's why I wanted to see if you would grow that. But the other part is, when I was helping Sophie to grow her list, we went from, I don't know, I think she was at maybe like 70 or something, up to like 400 in about a week or 2. Because there's groups called Lions, or there's people online in LinkedIn called Lions, which is LinkedIn Open Networking. When you find Lions, they're going to accept your request. They're asking for you to go and connect with them. Connect with Lions. Like, for the first 500, to me, I don't care who's on that list. I just want to get over 500. But if you are going to grow it with intention, then you want to look for people that look like, look like as in appearance, but people that are similar in demographic and psychographic, how they think about things, to the clients that you would consider to be ideal clients to you, right? So, so if you guys were ideal clients for me, so I'd be like, oh man, I really like working with with the 2 of them, and I enjoyed being around the kids, whatever the case is, right? And then I'm like, I'm writing down like, what are some of the things? Oh, they're Christians, they have kids, they live in the city. Well, what else do I know about you? I know your approximate age. Obviously, I know your race. I don't know what things. Well, I can imagine some of the things that may be scary to you. But that's the way you want to know who it is you're approaching. See, I was a realtor before, so that's why when I shifted the coaching program over towards realtors are the same, or just like coaches, whether it's financial coaches or whatever kind of coaches. The concern is always the same. Where's my next client coming from? If I don't have enough clients, these doors are getting closed, or whatever. And you have an opportunity, and you already know this because you know RVPs and stuff. You already know you have the tools in your hands to support your family. You just have to get those tools moving. So I would encourage you to overcome whatever may have hindered you to get to where you need to be, so you can say, hey, this is the number of, let me get to 500 as quickly as possible. We're in a new month. We're in February. You should be able to get to 500 one way or the other by the end of February. That way you could take that element out. I would also look to change your profile summary. Profile summary say, "Hi, my name is Charles. You can call me Charlie," something to that effect. Um, that's about you. You want your profile summary to be outward facing, client facing. You want to speak directly to the heart of the client that you want to come to you, right? Like, oh, you're a realtor who's been struggling with wondering where your next client is coming from, and then the next. I've been there, or whatever my solution is to address that very problem that I just mentioned. I'm going to address with you. That's the way you want to put out a problem that they're fully aware that they have, and then show them that there's a solution for it so that they can go, oh, okay, and want to have conversations. I've had many calls that were booked with me where I had no communication with them at all. I didn't say anything to them, but they wound up sending me a message saying, hey, let's get together. Now for coaching, it was a little bit easier because when I was coaching coaches, I just looked for coaches. I mean, I could do the same thing for realtors, but I was doing that for coaches. I just looked at, oh, your health coach, click, fitness coach, click, 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 whatever. Sometimes I did it when they were close by, by where they lived. Sometimes it didn't really matter, because in a lot of ways it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying to you, Charlie, is just to dig in, because the thing that's keeping you from where you want to be is not what's in your hands. Because remember, God said to Moses, what's in your hand? Right? What's in your hand, bro? So God starts with what he already put in your hands. So that's not the issue, but very often what the issue is how we've perceived ourselves in this realm, or in this world, right? Like if we don't perceive ourselves as a mighty man of valor, like Gideon, right? The angel went to him, oh, mighty man of valor. He's like, who are you talking to? So the thing is, you want to remember that you're a mighty man of valor, and all of this is in your hands. However, if you find, I don't know, I know you were in that other, the job at the restaurant for a long time. No idea what you made then, but I'm going to assume you were not necessarily doing 6 figures a year in there, and that the number doesn't really matter. The number matters only as it applies to your family, or maybe how you view things. But your worth is not in your net worth. Your worth is not in your income. Your worth and your self-esteem are going to be tied to how you provide for your family, because that thing can eat away at you for years to come if you struggle to get to where you want to be for too long. So there was a book that I was exposed to. I should just send it to you. Maybe you can send me your address. Maybe I'll sew that into you guys. But anyway, the book is called Overcoming Under-Earning. It was written for women. But you don't have to be a woman to. Matter of fact, we had a mastermind that we just ended the end of December, where we talked about that book for like 2 months, just chopping apart stuff and understanding what in our lives got us to where we are, to where we're under earning. We're not earning what we could be earning in our lives. Not should be, but could be, right? Like, so if there's a number, I don't know, I'm gonna throw a number out there. So if you were making $50,000, but you could be making 100, go get the 100, right? Like, because people say all the time, oh, I don't need all that much, and whatever. Like, get the money and give it away. That's fine, but don't not earn it because there's usually a reason a person's not doing it, and they're not facing up to what that reason is. So I wanted to pour that into also, so that you guys can get all that you should be getting out of this life, if you will, at least on the financial side. The other stuff is, you gotta work that out. But anyway, so again, I just wanted to encourage you, specifically record something specifically for you. This is the longest video I've ever done specifically for anyone else. I think I did one for my wife well before we started dating even. Um, I wanted to speak some stuff into her, but I wanted to speak some stuff into you. Also, as a young man, to just like I don't know who's in your life. I don't know what male role models, whatever you have, and I don't know you that well, but I just felt like it was something I could pour into you, say to you. Hope it's of benefit to you. Um, but again, I think if you grow your LinkedIn, you'll get growth from that. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to remind you. And this messes a lot of people up, especially messed me up as an agent in Primerica. Is like I had a friend of mine who he was a realtor also, but he knew that Rachel and I were doing Primerica. He didn't know that. I don't think he knew that much about Primerica, but he knew we were doing life insurance. So we all were at a friend's wedding, and he started telling me, "Oh yeah, he and his wife had just got married." And did I go? I might have gone to their wedding. I think I did. But anyway, but the point is, we're at this other wedding. He's like, "Oh yeah, this dude came over and we bought life insurance and all that." And I'm like, I mean, internally, I'm thinking like that, right? And he's talking and talking. Then he stops. He looks at me. He goes, "Wait a minute. You sell insurance, don't you, Kelly?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, duh." He said, "I'm so sorry." He says, "It's not your fault. It's mine." First of all, I knew he was getting married. It's a life change. I should have been there for him to make sure that his family was protected as soon as he got married, right? Like I don't mean at the ceremony, like, "Hey, here, sign right here." But what I mean is, you're solving a problem for people, right? And the problem is income protection. As soon as he got married, income protection is now an issue for him and his wife, right? Like before, it was just him. I mean, maybe he had insurance to bury himself, but that's all he needed. But now it's different, right? So as soon as the difference comes in, we need to be there for people to help them get to where they want to be. And I think you want to change. I don't know how you look at what you do, because we get a lot of negative reactions sometimes with network marketing companies and stuff like that. But the reality is Primerica serves a huge need. It meets a huge need with regular people, like because you're going to the house or you're doing whatever. I would definitely also look into doing some events. Maybe, I mean, if you or Taryn aren't comfortable doing, you may not be, maybe you're not comfortable doing live events, but if you are, if the church is open or whatever, you can think of somewhere where, hey, I can have 5-10 people in there, whatever, maybe 5, or whatever that number is. Don't worry about the number. What you're doing is just creating, and don't worry about the sales. Don't worry about the result. The thing is, everybody knows people buy from those they know, like, and trust, but people don't want to spend time to allow people to get to know them, so they can decide whether or not they like them, and then trust them to be an advisor of sorts in their lives. And that's what we want to do. So if you start having events and you're able to share stuff with people that empowers them, and they get a knowledge, "Oh man, I really need to get my stuff together," well, you kind of woke them up to it, so they're more than likely to come your way when they're ready to resolve that. Unless, of course, they already have somebody in their lives that they already know, like, and trust, that that they're going to do business with. So anyway, so I just wanted to share these things with you guys. Again, I hope it's beneficial. As I said before, I do have the coaching program. It's designed to get you book solid. I mean, that's what part of the coaching name is. I'm not sure what the full name will be when we're done, but but I don't want to lose my rapid client attraction component, because that's what I want to be about, helping people that are in service-based, sort of like service-based. I'm starting with realtors, but the reality is it's open to service-based industries where you got to go kind of create your income and create your influence in the marketplace, and it's designed to help you put a footprint out there so that you're continuously getting clients. But if you want to know more about that, you just want to sit down and talk about that real quick. We could do that. Again, even if you just want to know more about it and you're not thinking that's necessarily a fit for you, you don't have to worry about that. We can get on the phone. We can talk. It's not a fit. It's not a fit. If it is, it is, and we can talk about that. But let me know. Just let me know either way. I mean, you can just say, hey, no, we're cool, whatever. Or, hey, let's get on the phone, spend like 10 minutes talking, and so you can get an understanding of what that would look like. All right, so talk to you guys soon. Hope everything else is well with the kitties. The crazy thing is, life goes on, so it's not like, we're all at the same church or anything like that. But I am in Philly. I'm in the Northeast on Tabor Avenue near Cotman. So I guess we're not that far apart. I can't remember where you guys live, though. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, sorry, I'm watching the attorney pull up. Anyway, talk to you guys soon.